Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Kristina. So this class today is more of a lengthening and opening kind of class. So really catered to those that want to start a yoga practice but kind of feel that they're a little bit stiff, a little bit tight. It might be for your runner, your cyclist, your rugby player, your weightlifter, or your hardcore gym goer that tends to do a lot of like heavy, hardcore, repetitive maybe exercise movements and might need to add in a little bit of lengthening and opening and stretching. So for class today, you might need a strap. So if you've got a strap like this, go ahead and grab that. If you don't have that, it's fine. A belt, or even if you have a bathrobe belt, something like that will work fine. And then maybe a couple of blocks, particularly if the hamstrings are a bit tight. They're a really great one to use for your hands. So grab what you need and then come back and join me when you're ready. All right, let's start our great class. So it's probably about 30 minutes or so today. So starting our practice, maybe take your blocks, particularly if you feel like your hips are a little bit tight, and then slowly lay yourself right down onto your back. Let's bring those blocks right by your hips and then bring the feet together, knees open nice and wide. And if the hips are a bit tight, wedge those blocks in and hold and support yourself here. Alternatively, if this is way too much for those hips, you can have your feet nice and flat on the mat and then just gently let the knees drop in together. Absolutely fine. We're just really doing this to ground and to arrive, because our yoga practice is very much about intention and about breath, and taking a time to scan the body, just to see how you're feeling, to tune into your body, to bring a bit more mindful awareness to how we're moving today. Let's place one hand on the lower belly, another on the chest and the heart. Big sigh, in and out, let it all go. Beautiful. And now let's seal the lips. Take a big breath, inhale through the nose, breath in. Exhale, mouth open, let it go. And again, big breath in. Exhale, let it go. One more, inhale. Exhale. Beautiful. And slowly releasing the arms. Just take your wedges and place them to either side, extending the legs nice and straight. Then take your arms overhead and grab with your right hand, grab a hold of the left wrist. You're going to pull that left side over to the right. Big, long stretch. Open here, breath inhale. And exhale, slowly release, coming back through center. Other side, left hand grabs a hold of the right wrist as you pull the right side over. Excellent. And slowly release, coming back through center. Drawing the knees in towards the chest. Give yourself a big squeeze. Maybe little circles with the ankles, pointing and flexing the toes. I'll just move the block out of the way so we can see. Good. And let's take it into a happy baby pose. So this sometimes can be a bit tricky. You can certainly use your straps for this pose as well to draw those knees in towards the chest. Otherwise, grab a hold, hands, grab a hold of either the ankles or even the heels or even behind the knees. Lots of options here. And then once you're settled and you've got a good grip, slowly start to open through those hips. Find the length in the spine. So often what happens in this pose is the hips turn up or lift up. So even if it means you've got to extend the legs a little bit, you're really trying to press that lower back down. That stays nice and firm, and then bend as much as you can into the knees, opening through those adductors, the hip flexors, and maybe a little bit of a release through the lower back. You can tap one knee from side to side, so a little bit of playfulness here. Beautiful. Pause and hold for one breath. Inhale. Lovely. And exhale, releasing that left leg straight onto the mat. Keep a hold of the right leg. So draw it open through that hip. You can even take this left hand and give it a little bit of a support, wrapping the right arm around the leg, holding it here, opening. Pause and hold. Very good. And slowly releasing that right leg back through the center. So keeping this right leg in the center, you're going to bring the left leg, tuck the left knee behind the right, wrap or even hold the legs together like so, arms out to either side, and then drop both knees over towards the left. You might need your block here, maybe support the thigh or knee on the block, and then open the chest towards the right side, gaze to the right. Breath inhale. And exhale. And big breath in. And exhale, slowly release, coming back through center, unwrap the legs. So figure four stretch, left foot flat on the mat, take this right leg, hooking it over that left thigh. Just play with opening through the hip. Maybe this is where you stay, might be enough as it is. You want to take it further, lift that left leg up off the mat, weave the hands through, grab a hold of the shin, and draw everything in towards your chest. Pause and hold here. Beautiful. And slowly release, bringing that left foot flat on the mat. Now we're going to take it into another twist. So keeping that right leg hooked over the left thigh, and drop both the legs over towards that left side. So from here, taking this right leg and pull it as much as you can in towards that left hip, opening the arms to either side, and then you're really trying to push this right hip back down onto the mat. So you might feel this quite intensely. The piriformis muscle, maybe a little bit of the psoas, maybe even a little bit of the lower back, and then gaze over towards the right. Beautiful. Taking this a little bit further. Right hand reaches down to grab a hold of that left toe, left foot. And then pull that left leg in towards the center. Enjoy a little bit of a quad stretch here as well. Gaze over towards the right. Nice. Slowly release. Coming back through center. Extending the legs. Give everything a good shake. Little stretch out. Oh, and here we go, other side. Drawing both knees into the chest. Let's take that happy baby pose again. So grab a hold of the heels, open through the hips. Grab maybe even the ankles or behind the knees. So lots of options here to make this pose accessible. And then slowly play roly-polies from side to side, trying to press that lower back nice and firm into the mat. Even the back of the neck presses into the mat here. Beautiful. Now keep a hold of this left leg. Keep that hip nice and open as you extend the right leg straight. And bring the right hand to support that left leg, maybe even taking your arm and wrapping it around. And play with opening through that hip. Good, super. And slowly coming back through center. Keep that left leg drawn in and take the right leg and hook it behind that left thigh or left knee. Either keeping the legs like so, or you can wrap them right together. Open the arms to either side and then drop the knees over towards the right. You can let that thigh rest on your block if needed, or right onto the floor. And opening the chest, gaze to the left. And big breaths, inhale. And exhale. Good. Inhale, coming back through the center. Knees hug into the chest. Good. Unwrapping the legs. Bring the feet flat onto the mat. Taking this left leg and hook it over that right thigh. Open through the hip. Maybe you'll stay like this. It's quite intense already in that in that hip. Good. And maybe taking it further, drawing the knee in towards the chest. Give it a good squeeze. And pause and hold here. Beautiful. Awesome. And then slowly releasing that right leg back down onto the mat. Let's take it into that twist. So dropping both legs over towards the right side body. Drop, bringing the left foot flat onto the mat. Bringing that left heel as high as you can towards that right hip. And then press the left hip down. Really feel that opening here. Extending the arm, gaze to the left. Excellent. Let's take it into a little bit of a quad stretch. Let's see if you can reach back and grab a hold of the top of the right foot. Straighten up the hips. And then gentle with that knee, open through the quad. Again, gazing over towards the left. Hold here. Big breaths in. And out. Excellent. Head one more in. And out. Slowly release, coming back through center, extending the legs nice and straight. Give it a nice shake. Get everything a shake. Beautiful. Crossing the feet at the ankles. One big rock. Rocks yourself all the way up. Palms flat, feet flat. Slowly and gently push your hips up into a cross-legged forward fold. Now guys, this is a great place for those blocks. Cross-legged forward folds, really tricky one. So let's have the right foot on top, over top of the left. Then you can straighten up that left leg, keep a bend in the right knee. You can hold onto your blocks here. And really push back as much as you can into the hips and find that length in the spine. Pause and hold here. Good, very nice. Beautiful. Maybe releasing the blocks if you find the body starting to open a little bit. Very nice. Let's take it into a little bit of a twist, or you can bring your blocks with you. Walk over towards that right side. Rotate, rotate, rotate. And gaze towards the right. Nice. And slowly release. Opening up the legs, standing up nice and tall. Give the legs a little bit of a wiggle and a shake. And then again, you can use your blocks here, but nice and firmly press back into those hips. You're really trying to tilt the pelvis back. Then lift the chest, lengthen the spine. And exhale, forward fold. You can bring your blocks down a level. And again, lift up, lengthen. Exhale, forward fold. Good, one more lift and lengthen. Good, exhale, forward fold. Beautiful. Now, left leg on top of right. And find that cross-legged forward fold. Once again, straighten up the right leg. Bend into the left knee. Pause and hold here. And that lengthen the spine. Push right back into the hips. I certainly feel like this side is quite a lot tighter than the other. So interesting how we can observe one side very different to the other. So finding that balance, finding that awareness. Beautiful. And then walk the hands over, or your blocks over towards the left side of your mat. So take it into a little bit of a twist. Beautiful. And slowly, slowly release, coming back through center, stepping your feet nice and wide as you can imagine, or as wide as you can manage rather, turning your toes out, and then slowly, slowly using your blocks to assist you, come down into a nice big juicy squat. You can take these blocks and place them up under your heels if you find this pose a little bit challenging, or find it challenging to get the balance or even the heels down. And then once you're in position, see if you can sink that seat right towards the heels, like you've got a weight at the base of your spine. You've got hands coming to your heart center. Press the elbows into the inner parts of the thighs as you lift through the chest. Hold here. Beautiful. And slowly release, palms come down. Just slide your blocks out of the way. You can place them by your side and then push your hips back up into your forward fold. Let's heel toe those toes together to touch. And then roll all the way up to stand. Good. Big breath. Inhale, sweep the arms up, bring the palms together to touch. Exhale, take a forward fold. Again, this is a great place for those blocks, guys. So go ahead and use them. Lift and lengthen. Exhale, forward fold. Palms plant down. And step back into your plank pose. And so this is a little bit of fun, a little bit of mobility for the hips and the lower back. Dropping the knees, bend the elbows in towards the body as you lower the chest and the chin down. So a real big curve in the lower back here. And then slide through onto your tummy, bringing the forearms forward, push the chest up, lift and lengthen. Hold here. And the hips are plugged down, lengthening through the legs. You might even point the toes. And you're really trying to bend in your thoracic spine. Shoulders back, gaze up. Beautiful. And exhale, slowly release. Push the seat right back towards the heels. And bring the toes together to touch knees open wide. Child's pose, lengthen through the arms. Maybe the chest rests, maybe the forehead rests. This is sometimes a tricky pose, so you can certainly place a block between the thighs to give the knees a little bit of a support. So again, finding those options to make the poses accessible. It's absolutely fine. Nice. And then from here, when you're ready, curl the toes under, hips up and back into your downward dog. Okay, a little bit of movement here, guys. So breath inhale lifts the right leg up, back behind you. As high as you can go, it doesn't matter how high you go. So we're just trying to get an opening, a little bit of lifting into flexing and bending into that left leg up and down. Good. Looking to your hands, take the right foot through, tuck it in towards your chest, step it through to your hand. And staying in a nice lunge to start with. Then dip the chest down. Lift and open. Beautiful. And slowly release back slightly so you're a bit more balanced with your weight. Dropping the left knee down, lay the back foot flat. Bring the hands up onto your thighs. Pause and hold here. And enjoy that release through that hip flexor and the psoas. And maybe taking it into a little bit of a twist here. Excellent. And then coming back through the center, bending into the left knee, straighten up the right leg. So really important that you're trying to draw back into that right hip as much as you can. So keeping the hips nice and square, and do your best here with straightening that front leg. And then flex and point the toe. A little bit of mobility work again. Good, and then we're going to continue with the mobility. So lunging forward into that right knee. Good, and push right back, lengthen. And again, lunge forward. And push back, good. Let's do that a couple more times. Lunge forward. And back. Lunge forward. And push back, pause and hold. Again, this is a great place for those blocks. If you have the blocks handy and you're finding those hamstrings a bit tight, because this is actually a really evil pose. Lift and lengthen through the chest. And then slowly let that chest dip forward. You might walk the hands forward and drop the head. Hold here. Beautiful. And slowly lifting the chest slightly, bringing the blocks or your hands over towards the right side, taking this into a twist, but keep in mind that you're really trying to draw the energy back into that right hip, so hips stay nice and square. Hold here. Good, excellent. And slowly coming back through the center. Blocks to either side, bend into that right knee. Curl the back toes under, lift the hips enough, and step back into your downward dog. So full sequence on the other side. Big breath inhale, lifts that left leg up. And roll up and down onto the ball of the right foot. A little bit of movement going in the ankles and the toes. And then looking to your hands, step the right foot through to your hands. Lunge down and open the chest. Beautiful. Coming back through center, so distributing the weight a little bit more evenly. Drop the right knee down, lay the back foot flat. Coming up into your low lunge. So you're really trying to get that left foot forward as much as you can, so you can sink the hips as low as possible. Sometimes you might need pads for the knees. I know sometimes the knees can be a bit tricky in this pose. So go ahead and even folding up your mat a couple times sometimes helps to be able to hold this pose a little bit longer. Good. Nice. And then let's take it into a twist. So you're twisting over towards the left. Maybe your spine clicks just like mine did. And gaze right to the back. Beautiful. And coming back through the center, just have your blocks handy if you need them. And slowly start bending into that right leg as you straighten up the left toes, turn up to the sky. And finding that balance here once again, maybe flexing and pointing the left toes. A little bit of lengthening and gliding in and out of this tricky hamstring pose position. Stretch. Whatever it is, it's evil. And drawing back into that left hip. Pause and hold here. And then let's take our mobility work. So lunging forward into that left knee, hips drop nice and low. Good, and straighten. And keep going, lunge forward. And bend. Excellent, keep going. Lunge forward. And bend one more time, lunging forward. And straighten, hold here. And maybe walking your blocks further forward, letting the chest lower down, dropping the head, and hold. Beautiful. And slowly release, lifting the chest enough so you can bring your blocks or your hands over towards that left side. Holding here, taking it into a nice juicy twist. You're still trying to bring this left hip back even. And as you hold in this pose, gaze right to the back. Excellent. Beautiful, and slowly release, bringing the hands back through center. And place your blocks to the side, bend back into the left knee, curl the back toes under, lift the hips enough, step back into your downward dog. So your downward dog is a great pose really just to feel out where the body is, but often it's a challenging pose for a lot of us. We tend to dump right forward in our hips, and this is the position we end up being in our downward dog, and it's really quite hard to hold that way. So if you find your hamstrings are a bit short and you're struggling in your downward dog, if you bend into your knees, it gives you the opportunity and some space, some length to really push back. So you're trying to get mobility and opening through the chest and the shoulders, and bringing the spine in one long line. So keep those knees bent. There's nothing that says that you have to force and straighten. Slowly let the body unfold. And then you'll notice with a bit of practice that eventually we can play with straightening those knees. And then maybe eventually the heels come down, but don't worry so much about that. So really finding the position, finding this ability to be able to hold this pose without really dumping into those hips. So find that length in the spine. Good. Excellent. And looking to your hands, just walk right through, sit the bottom down, placing the blocks to either side, and grab a hold of your strap or your belt or whatever you found at home that you can use for this part of the practice, and then come to lay yourself right down onto your back. So this is something that I do very, very regularly in my own self-practice because I just find it such a great release for the IT band, for the hamstrings, for inner hamstrings, for everything. So taking your strap, a right leg draws in towards your chest, loop the strap over the back of that right leg or around the back of the right leg. And then you can hold the two together. So you make a little loop and hold that nice and tight. Good. And then from here, squaring up the hips, relaxing through the shoulders and the neck, and then just play with drawing that right leg in towards the chest. And really using the breath here. And then from here, give yourself a little bit of balance. You're going to open the right leg to the right. Yes, nice. Good, and then back through the center. Now bring it over to the left, so over the body. Ooh, this is that IT band stretch, which is really tight. Good, and slowly release, coming back through center. We're going to take that round again. So slowly play with drawing the leg in towards the chest. As much as you can, play with even bending the knee and straightening, bending and straightening. So gliding in and out of this pose. You know, the hamstrings are an evil one. Give it a little heat, a little massage. Beautiful. And then let's play with opening to the side. You might even feel a stretch on this side. I certainly do in this pose. And then back through the center. And let's take it over to the left. Oh, this is the evil one. Head open through the shoulders. Nice. And slowly back through center. Beautiful. And release. Give yourself a moment. Give yourself that leg a little bit of a opening. Stretch it out. Those hip flexors. And then we'll repeat the same sequence on the other side. So taking the left leg, now loop your strap around the back of the foot. Hold the two together. And then play with your hamstring extension. So really trying to keep your supporting leg or your right leg as straight as you can. So you still should feel a little bit, maybe even an opening or lengthening through the psoas and the hip flexor on the right side. And then bending the knees, straightening. So gliding in and out of this pose. You might observe that one side is very different than the other, feels very different. Maybe a little bit more open, maybe a little bit more tight. And let's take it to the side, open. Coming back through center. And then taking it over the body to the right. Oh, IT band, evil. Yeah, holding here. Excellent. And slowly coming back through center. Let's take it back the whole round again. So playing a little bit again with that hamstring extension. And whatever the body allows. Beautiful. And then opening that leg towards the left. The right arm open. And slowly coming back through the center. And left leg over towards the right side body. Brilliant. Coming back through the center and release, placing your straps over to the side, extending the legs, give yourself a big long stretch. Awesome. Good. And then last pose, I always like to end my classes with some form of inversion. So there's a couple of options here, guys. So a more restorative inversion, which I love and I often practice myself in my own home practice or self-practice, is just with a block at the base of the spine. You lay your hips down. So a block or a book if you have, or if you've got a more firmer cushion, you can use that as well. And then finding a little bit of stability here and then slowly just extend the legs straight. So that's an option. Alternatively, if you want to take it into a full shoulder stand, is finding your position on your mat. Rock those hips right up overhead. And push yourself as high as you can up onto your shoulders. Trying not to move your neck, and then maybe clasping the hands together, or you can support the lower back. And then lifting one leg and then the other leg. And pause and hold here. And if you're in the shoulder stand or whichever pose you decided to choose, try to hold it for 10 breaths. Slowly, 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 letting the body enjoy this inversion. Maybe little circles with the ankles and the toes. And once you've done 10 breaths or so, and if you're in a full shoulder stand like I am, you can drop your legs back behind you into Halasana plow pose. If you're in a restorative inversion, just drop the knees in towards the chest. Give yourself a little cuddle.
Beautiful. And slowly bending through the knees. Palms press into the mat, lowering your hips back down. If you're in supported shoulder stand, just removing the block from the lower back and lowering the hips back down. Let's take a moment to hug the knees into the chest. Give yourself a nice little squeeze. And let's finish the practice the way that we started. So feet together, knees open nice and wide. You might need to use your blocks again if you feel you need a little bit more support. One hand on the lower belly, another on the chest and the heart, and taking a moment to soften once again through the breath. Beautiful. And you can either stay as you are if you feel comfortable and that's enough for the hips, or you can extend your legs straight and long with your arms by your side, making your body nice and floppy like a big cooked spaghetti in preparation for your shavasana, your final relaxation. So really important, even in a very, what looks like maybe a simple yoga class, and even a class that may be targeted to different types of people or different types of groups. It's really important to encourage yourself to give that time for a little bit of space, a little bit of reflection, a little bit of rest. Big breath, inhale through the nose. Exhale, mouth open, let it go. Good. Letting yourself go soft. Beautiful. Small movements with your fingers and your toes. Maybe little circles with those ankles, pointing and flexing the foot. And when you're ready, hugging the knees, maybe even one at a time. If you're feeling a bit sleepy, a bit sore, maybe. We worked some big muscle groups, big joints and tendons and ligaments. Lots of stretching. Hug the knees into the chest. Crossing the feet at the ankles. And gently rock yourself up to a seated position. Legs crossed, your hands gently resting on your thighs. And just take a moment to find a bit of stillness. Just feel your body. Maybe take a big mental scan. Just check in with yourself, see how you're feeling now compared to when we started our practice. Wonderful. Let's take a big closing breath together. Inhale through your nose. And exhale, let it go. Hands to your heart center. And thumb knuckles to forehead. Thank you so much again for practice. Namaste.